In a small, peaceful community nestled by the banks of a great river, there lived a girl named Amaka. She was the most beautiful maiden in the entire village. Her skin glowed like the moon, her eyes sparkled like the stars, and her smile could melt even the coldest hearts. But Amaka's beauty was not just skin deep. It was a gift from a powerful spirit that controlled her life. And though the people of the community admired her, they were unaware of the dark curse that hung over her like a shadow. Each night, Amaka could never sleep in a bed as other people did. Her beauty, which made her so irresistible to men, came with a dreadful price. Whenever a man fell in love with her and they shared a night together, Amaka would slip away the moment he fell asleep, running back to the riverbank. If she stayed in bed through the night, she would die. It was a tragic fate for Amaka, one she had never understood, but one she had learned to live with. Amaka's life had become a dangerous game of seduction and escape. Any man who laid eyes on her instantly fell under her spell, captivated by her beauty. But when dawn broke, they would drop dead after market day. Her beauty had claimed many lives, leaving a trail of heartbroken families behind. No man had ever been able to break the cycle. All were lost to the curse, and Amaka's sorrow deepened with each new death.
What are you doing in my house?
That was until one fateful day when Amaka's path crossed with Obina's. Obina was a young man who lived in a neighboring community not far from Amaka's village. Though he wasn't wealthy, Obina carried himself with an air of respect that set him apart from others. His charm didn't come from riches or extravagant possessions, but from his character, his humility, and the way he respected everyone around him. He was known in his village as a man of honor, someone who worked hard and lived by his principles. The spirit controlling Amaka was aware of Obina, and it knew that he was her next target. "This man will fall like the others," the spirit said, as it watched from the shadows. The spirit, with its dark power, sent Amaka to Obina's village, knowing that his heart would soon be ensnared by her beauty. When Amaka arrived in Obina's community, she was prepared. She wore her most enchanting smile, and when she met Obina, she expected him to fall at her feet, just as every other man had. But to her surprise, Obina barely glanced at her. He was polite, yes, but there was no spark of admiration in his eyes. He didn't ogle him, nor did he shower him with compliments. He simply nodded politely, and that was all. Amaka, taken aback, was confused. How is this possible? She thought to herself. All men fell for her at first sight, but Obina, he seemed uninterested. This only made her more determined to get him. That night, as Amaka sat alone by the river, the spirit appeared before her, its voice a cold whisper in the night. "Why does Obina not fall for you?" it hissed. "What is wrong with him?" Amaka, frustrated and confused, replied, "I don't know. I've tried everything. He doesn't care about me." The spirit's eyes glowed with an eerie light. "He is just a little man," it said dismissively. "I will show you how to break him. He cannot resist you, but you must listen to me carefully."
I beg you, guide me.
The spirit gave Amaka a plan, a simple one. "Obina loves vegetable soup. Cook it for him and he will fall for you. He will be yours." The next morning, Amaka went to the market, bought all the fresh ingredients she needed, and set to work cooking the soup. She prepared it with care, imagining Obina's face when he tasted it. Once the soup was ready, she set off for his house. When she arrived, Obina took the food from her with a polite smile, but as he placed it on the table, he eyed the soup suspiciously. "How did you know I love vegetable soup?" he asked, his brow furrowed. Amaka's heart raced, but she held her composure. I just thought you might like it," she said nervously. Obina didn't eat the soup. Instead, he smiled gently. "Thank you, but I don't know if I want to eat something a stranger has brought." Amaka felt a pang of disappointment but refused to give up. Over the next several days, she tried more tricks, trying to win him over with everything she could think of. She offered him food, compliments, and even tried to share stories of her life, but Obina remained uninterested. Then, one evening, something changed. Amaka, now feeling a deep longing for Obina, arrived at his house once more. But this time, instead of merely trying to seduce him, she found herself drawn to him in a way she hadn't expected. They spent hours talking, laughing, and sharing stories. The more they spoke, the more Amaka realized that she had begun to care for him deeply. Obina too found himself captivated by Amaka. There was something about her, something genuine, that made him want to protect her. He invited her to stay the night, a kind gesture that in another time might have been innocent, but Amaka knew the truth of her curse, and as she lay beside him, she felt the familiar tug of the spirit's presence. That night, as Amaka and Ogama lay in the quiet of the room, the spirit appeared once more.
Amaka,
it was angry, furious that Amaka had not followed its commands. "I am yours," the spirit hissed, its voice cold as ice. "I gave you power and you must obey me." Amaka, now deeply in love with Obina, cried out, begging the spirit to spare him. "Please, I love him. He is kind and pure. Don't hurt him." But the spirit was beyond reasoning. It lashed out, its power suffocating the air. As Obina watched in shock, unable to understand what was happening, the spirit strangled Amaka before his very eyes. Obina reached for her, but it was too late. Amaka vanished before him, her body crumbling to dust in his hands. The next morning, the villagers found Amaka's lifeless body by the river, just as the spirit had promised. The news reached Obina, and he rushed to the river bank, where he found her cold, lifeless form. He knelt beside her, his heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. "Amaka," he whispered, his voice breaking. "What happened? Why did you leave me?" The community mourned for the beautiful girl who had captivated so many, unaware of the dark forces that had controlled her life. Obina, however, was left with a grief he could never fully understand, and the pain of losing Amaka would haunt him for the rest of his days. In the years that followed, the legend of Amaka's curse grew, whispered around firesides, and passed from generation to generation. It was said that the river spirit still roamed, waiting for its next victim to claim. But Obina, the man who loved Amaka, would never forget her. Every night, he sat by the river, staring into the water, waiting for a glimpse of the beautiful girl who had stolen his heart, and wondering if there was any way to break the curse that had stolen her life. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support means the world to us. See you in our next story. Bye!